The Green Bay Packers host Washington on Sunday as both teams seek their first win of the season. Green Bay installed as a 9.5-point favorite on BETDAQ, 49.5 the total in this game. These teams both lost last week, but I thought both teams looked very different. Green Bay played very well on the road in San Francisco, had a fourth quarter lead before blowing that game. Washington, did you see that Philadelphia-Washington game? Did you see what I saw? If you only saw the final score of that game and did not watch the game, maybe you don't have a good idea. Washington did not look like a good team at all. I mean, they look like a 6, 7, 8 win team to me. That did not look like a playoff team. Bad defense. They had a bad defense last year, so that's not shocking or anything. Robert Griffin III did not look like himself. Don't know if he's still injured. He was obviously rusty. He was tentative, no doubt about it. I know a lot of people said that, well, in the second half, the Redskins offense, they got it going and just shook off the rust after that first half. That's not really the way I saw the game. It looked to me as though Philadelphia was just trying to sit on that big lead in the second half. They weren't nearly as aggressive on defense, were not blitzing up the middle as much. If you remember the first half of that game, they seemed to blitz Robert Griffin up the middle just about every other play. Second half, he was allowed to sit back there a little more, complete some passes, gain some confidence as the Eagles tried to keep everything in front of him. You can't blame him for that strategy with a lead like they had. But all in all, very, very unimpressed with the Washington Redskins. And they're in a really tough spot on the road against Green Bay this week. Listen, I know Green Bay doesn't have a great defense themselves, but the Colin Kaepernick I saw last week, who passed for over 400 yards, played an incredible game, and the Robert Griffin that I saw last week against Philadelphia, a team, by the way, that I don't think is going to have a very good defense either. I mean, hey, it's week 1, so when we proclaim that this team has a good defense and this team doesn't, or it's week 2 now, I guess, but we've only seen these teams play one game this season, so I say the 49ers have the best defense in the league. Well, at the end of the season, maybe they'll have a middle-of-the-pack defense if they deal with injuries or things like that. We do the best we can after week 1, obviously. The Eagles' defense played well last week, but I still don't think they're going to have a good defense this season. You look at the personnel, you look at the way they played throughout the preseason, I think it was more a case of Washington being not very good, Robert Griffin being rusty and not very good. And so I like Green Bay this week. I like them to win this game big, maybe not 40-10 big, but bigger than 9.5. I know 9.5 is a big number to give a team like Washington that made the playoffs last year. Still think Green Bay is going to cover. Also lean towards the over in this situation. The total is 49.5. Might I remind you, Green Bay plays very well after a loss under Mike McCarthy. This team responds well, 9-2 against the spread. Their last 11 games following a loss. I like that trend to continue this week. I like Green Bay to cover the 9.5 against Washington.